So this is Chris Manuel of MMA UK, and I'm joined today by the one and only Jay the Nightmare Shepherd. How you doing today, Jay?
Bruce.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the main event of the evening. Let's welcome into the cage, Jay Shepherd.
I thank the stars above. I know that we're gonna make it. I thank the stars above. I know. I thank the stars above. I know that we're gonna make it. I know. We're gonna make it.
Stepping like a weapon on the field to get some. On the real, we appear to get gone. Victory is ours, bring the chip home. Galactic, and I'm looking to get more. Raise it up, seen but you don't know. Running like the blood, pumping from the pressure of adrenaline rush. We crush whatever we touch. Where you been, y'all? Everyone know. And if you still don't get it, let it chill for a minute. Time is money, and trust me, man, I'm all business. And if you want something done, do yourself to get it finished. Wake up, victory's mine. On top, still on the grind. Gotta go get it right now. Holla at me with me. It's time.
I thank the stars above. I know that we're gonna make it.
It'll take over doubt, we gon' make it. Show the world that I shine in our greatness. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it, Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it. Second verse, I'm telling you I'm ready to go, letting you know, cause I'm never below the ones that I roll with are incredibly known for getting down to the nitty gritty. If you're really women, let's go. Moves made, dues paid, most talk but don't do a thing. We certified, observers I come through and give a true display. We champions, understand me standing under a victory canopy. Canopy the enemy was hitting keys, ready to drive at top speed, let's get it out. Wake up, victory's mine, on top, still on the grind. Gotta go get it right now, holla at me if you're with me, it's time.
I thank the stars above. I know that we're gonna make it.
It'll take over doubt, we gon' make it. Show the world that I shine in our greatness. Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it. Taking off, flying high like a spaceship. Take control, take a shot, what you waiting for? Keep it real, never gon' fake this. Till we make it.
I thank the stars above. I know that we're gonna make it. I know the ground below my
Ladies and
feet
gentlemen,
gon'
those
lift
three
me
hardcore
up.
rounds, we have a winner. In the blue corner, let's hear it for Jaru Shepherd. Ladies and gentlemen, your contenders, welterweight champion.
Jay, who have you got to thank? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
I'd like to thank you for interviewing me, Chris, man. You know, I've always had time for you, man. And our banter on Facebook, yeah, with football and stuff. It's legendary. Obviously, shout outs to Fist Prince right there. They're doing my walkouts, you know. London Fight Factory, yeah. Jeremy Petley, my coach. Martin Island, Danny Beaver, Alex Montagnani. There's so many names, man. Oh, my new sponsor, Vita Goods. And my sponsor management now new is Dom Haddy. Yeah, Dominic Haddy, he sorts that out, you know. So got shout outs to them. Shout outs to the Tea House Theatre as well, my other sponsor. Valerio Clothing, my other sponsor. And
I'm giving you a clue here, man.
Even shout out to RDX, man, because they sent me a few things, you know. Shout outs to me as well, yeah.
How about your big sponsor?
Sorry guys, Amorphos Cosmetic, yeah. You have to. Oh, yes, sorry. And Black Sheep Dispensaries. Yeah, my CBD sponsor, you know. The good stuff right there. Yeah. The nightmare sleeps as well, you know. He makes people sleep, but he sleeps as well. He makes himself sleep. I don't hit myself.
Jay Shepherd, you truly are the nightmare, but you are the #1 nightmare. Don't let anyone else tell you anything differently.
I
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm gonna go get a massage with no happy ending.
And on that note, we are going. This is Chris Emmanuel for MMA UK, and this is Jay, the Nightmare Shepherd, and we are signing out. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
We're live, and this episode of the show is dedicated to Jay Shepherd. Peter, do you want to tell us about our sponsor, Fight Fuel?
I would if I could find it. Yeah, the MMA UK Late Show is sponsored by Fight Fuel. Fight Fuel is a supplement and clothing company founded by martial artists, former martial artists, and all combat sport athletes. The aim of
We
the
can't
company...
hear you, Peter.
Can't hear me. You hear me now, Katie? Right. I'll go. You just continue, right?
Okay. Peter will go and come back. It's not us unless there's a technical hitch, and then hopefully we'll hear about Fight Fuel in a minute. But we've got enough to... Lewis, when I sent through all the stuff we were going to try and cover today, you seemed a bit panicked.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. I think there's a lot to cover, and I mean, I've got to be up for work at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I think with everything we put on that list, we could realistically be going until then. So that was the thing. But at the same time, I'm quite excited as well because there has been a lot of good fights over the last 2 weeks, a lot of big events, and yeah, really looking forward to getting into it and having a chat about it tonight, especially because obviously we've had some successful Welsh fighters. So I know Peter Knox always takes the piss a little bit.
Not just Welsh fighters, fighters from the UK. So
well,
we're going to talk about all of them. So we weren't here last week, so we've missed 251, and we didn't do a show after Wednesday's show. So we've got all of the Brits to cover. So instead of doing a full review of all 3 cards, we're just going to touch on the Brits. We've got 2 fantastic Welsh guys with us tonight. Aside from Lewis, we've got the fantastic Ricky Wright. Thanks for joining us, Ricky.
Oh, anytime. Thank you for asking me on. Like about 10 minutes ago, but you know, I had nothing. I had nothing better to do. I'm not like Lewis. I don't have a real job anymore. So just rub her in, Lewis. See if I care. But pleasure to be on anyway. Thanks for inviting me.
And well, you said you don't have a real job, but I did see that you were emceeing in Sweden. There's a fight show out there a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago was a show called Fight Club Rush. Doing really big things in Swedish MMA. A lot of the Swedish fighters are coming through this promotion now, like Khamzat Chizaev, who recently made his debut against John Phillips, fought on a previous Fight Club Rush show. So they're doing big things, and it's pretty mad being out in Sweden to be part of a behind the closed doors show. So, you know, making history, and it's good fun.
I'm glad that you were back in action anyway, even if not for us yet.
Well, it was 14 days quarantine since I come back because Sweden is still on the banned list.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
I'm free to go out tomorrow. And I've stayed in for the last 2 weeks, honestly. I've only been to like Barnard Castle and back, so that's allowed. Got my eyes tested.
Well, Chris and Frankie, we apologise that you could hear Peter. It might have been a difficult show if we couldn't hear him though. So, Peter, I think we've got your sound back now.
I hope so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hear you now. I was just about to introduce Danny. Danny, your first time on the Late Show. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers for having me on. Super excited to be back out with my lockdown hidey hole. It's about time.
And unlike Lewis, you've actually had a lockdown haircut.
I have. I couldn't be seen dead on here, to be honest. I think that's what put me off coming on. Couldn't be seen dead with my big mop.
And Lewis, you told us all that you're getting a haircut tomorrow. So my
First thing
idea
tomorrow.
is, viewers, if you want to comment, Lewis is getting his haircut at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Let him know what haircut he should be going for.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, colours as well. So yeah, if you want him to go blonde, everyone let us
I could
know.
get the frosted tips. I could be persuaded for a few frosted tips.
Was it Freddie Lundberg who used to have those?
Yeah.
Awesome. Peter, do you want to tell us about Fight Fuel now that the four of us can hear you?
Yeah,
Or
can
had you got to the end?
Is that the best introduction you can do?
What?
Ricky, show how you introduced me to the show. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on to the MMA UK show, Peter Knox.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible, to be fair.
We should get Ricky on every week just to introduce the staff and then you can fuck off.
Yeah, that'd be good.
He makes
I'm only good for one thing.
He makes Ricky do that every time he comes on.
It's good advertising.
Exactly. He'll get a new gig to that now as well.
Oh, thank you.
You will. The job offers will be flowing in now. You have a proper job now.
The MMA UK effect.
Yeah.
I suppose I better get on with the sponsor thing before they don't sponsor us any longer.
We've got quite a bit to crack on with, yeah.
Yeah, so Fight Fuel is a supplement and clothing company founded by martial artists for martial artists and all combat sport athletes. The aim of the company is to supply supplements and clothing of the highest standard to all fighters and warriors so they can train, perform, and win. And if you use MMA UK 15, you'll get a 15% discount at fightfuel.co.uk.
And it's good stuff as well.
I take it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What do you take?
I'm a corporate hoe. I take anything. Fuel UK. Fuel. I
take fuel. Reza said he can't believe you're on. Long time no see, Ricky.
Oh, Reza, he's a cool guy. He lives in Sweden, but he's from London, and he covers all the Swedish MMA shows. So he's pretty good. Hi, Reza. Yeah,
he comments on a lot of our videos, so it's always good to know that he's tuning in.
I want to know which one Gaza.
You should go for a Gaza haircut, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis.
I don't know, Chris.
Get voting, people. Right, let's crack on because we've got a ton of fights to get through, and it's giving me palpitations. We're live on Facebook and Twitter, so drop us your questions and we'll show them on the screen. Anything we miss, we'll try and cover. But let's start with last night, and let's start with the first UK guy on the card, which was obviously Brett Johns. Oh, he makes it so easy to be a fan, doesn't he? Lewis, tell us about this fight.
One ginger to another, he got the win. You know, it wasn't the prettiest, but win's a win. I think I read on his Instagram he posted, anyone can be knocked down, but anyone can't get back up, and that was I think the moral of the story. It wasn't his best performance. He got stung in the first round, but he hustled, came back, and ground out the last two rounds, and rightfully got the win. I thought so. Really happy for Brett. Obviously 2-0 for Shaw Mixed Martial Arts. Two bantamweights who really have got a lot of promise again in the top 10, getting wins, and I thought Brett did what he needed to do. Like I said, it wasn't pretty, but a win's a win, and very happy for him.
I didn't think it was as bad as he was saying, though. He was like, he said exactly that about it being boring or something. Like, I didn't think it was like that at all. I don't know
tough opponent as well.
I was kind of on the edge of my seat with excitement, but
it was a tough opponent as well.
Yeah,
Montel really, really long for the weight, very big. He had those huge hands. He was getting a lot of grips on Brett, and I think it's a big milestone for Brett to take a victory like that. So, like I said, onwards and upwards for Brett now, and hopefully he's going to look to take someone in the top 15, top 10 next, I would think.
Yeah, very mature performance. Like tactically, just looked very spot on. Ricky, tell me what you thought of it.
I'm just going to echo what Lewis said, really. It was a tough fight. He knew that going in. The guy he's fighting is far more physically imposing. He's got, as you said, the big hands. I think they touched upon last night that he wore XXL gloves. That's the same size
for
gloves.
Bantamweight.
Yeah, that's the same size gloves as
Ngannou.
Yeah, you know the biggest, like when I MC the IMAFs, there's this one guy called Pasha Karanev, and Kagachev, and he has like triple X gloves, and then complains they're too small for him. And we invented like 5XL gloves just for this guy, and that just shows how like he's a bantamweight with triple XL gloves and the grip strength that he has, and he just held Brett's hand a lot of the times. But
Yeah.
as Lewis, to echo what Lewis said again, he got put down in the first round. He kept calm. He got back up, and he clearly won the second and third. Thing is, a lot of people. There's a few dodgy MMA fans on Twitter last night saying it was a boring fight, but at the end of the day, Brett's not going to fight this guy's game. Why would he fight this guy's game when he's got his own game? And he executed the game plan second and third round and got the win. And it was 29-28, perfect judging. Can't go wrong. And now he onwards and upwards. He's 5-2 in the UFC now. That's a great record for UFC. The two guys he's lost to, Aljamain Sterling and the other lad, I can't think of his name now, are both in the top 10 and sparking out guys like Cody Garbrandt. So I'd love to see him fight I'd love to see Brett fight Cody Garbrandt next. How good would that be?
Brett, can I ask you a
Cody's
question?
got to
Right?
be the most called out fighter on the roster.
Brett, can I ask you a question? What if it wasn't for the knockdown in the first round? How would you have scored the first round?
Up until the knockdown, I think Brett was winning because he had the control on the cage. But I've been to a few of Mark Goddard's judging courses, and if you're close, whoever's closest to finishing the fight gets the round. And obviously, with the knockdown, that gave the round to his opponent.
Yeah, I think
Montel Jackson.
Yeah,
that's the one.
What I want to get across, Rick, is other than that, it was a pretty much a perfect performance. It was a stinging 1-2 that dropped him, but other than that, he was pretty much in control the whole way through, I thought.
I liked how he said to his striking coach, James Wallace. He said, "This is every time you tell me to stop blocking punches with my face, and that's what happened." But Brett took some big shots. He took a knee in, I think, the third round as well, and he's tough as nails. Brett is. He's so tough, and he didn't even flinch. Okay, he went down, but he was so calm off his back, and he took a few elbows, and that was it. He tied his opponent up, worked his way back to his feet, and it was you can't argue with that performance. I'm super proud of Brett and chuffed that he got the win, and I got no fingernails left from fighting him watching.
Yeah, I think we all kind of took a collective. The three of us were talking on group chat at the time when he got knocked down, and I think my heart stopped for a minute, Lewis.
Yeah, panic stations, wasn't it?
It was, but he recovered so well from it, and I just don't think he put in a really mature performance, and I thought the game plan was excellent.
Yeah, can't ask for nothing more from Brett from our fight. I mean, like with someone who's of the stature of his opponent, if it was someone different, it'd be a different fight altogether. But you can't fight a physically imposing guy with excellent striking at his own game. It's just crazy talks, and if you look back to Brett's first fight in the UFC against the Korean fella Quack,
Quack,
that was an exciting fight because he fell into Brett's style, and it was a good stylistic matchup.
Yeah.
You can't be entertaining in every fight. I thought it was entertaining, but obviously
I did as well. And Chris has commented there wasn't a boring fight. A crowd there would have been loud, and I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think we're all emotionally invested in Brett because he kind of drags you on his journeys with him because he's so passionate, and you just feel like part of his club,
How do you feel about the UFC taking on his motto, and whenever he's fighting now, it's the anyone can get it tour? I love that the UFC branded him as that as well.
It's bad because Brett obviously is a big Swansea City fan, boo, and big Welsh big Welsh football fan, and he goes on the away days. He wears the Stone Island, and he often gets a police escort to the away matches. He lives that life, and it's kind of like a gimmick, but it's like a real gimmick. So it's not really a gimmick because that was who he is. But they're using that to sell him, and I think it's great. And I'm sure when he fights in front of a full crowd again, there'll be a stand full of people in the Welsh bucket hats and stuff. So if they're using that to market him better, then great.
I'm sure he'll have got a boatload of fans from the fact that, all these people in the US who maybe don't always watch the UFC are watching now. There's no other live sport on, and he's exactly the sort of person, like you say, that will drag him on your journey with him. You just really want him to do well.
Yeah, he says
salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar.
You might have to mute yourself for a while.
all I heard then was deep fried Mars bar, salt and vinegar. And I want to be where you are right now.
You do, because I like the sharp soup as well.
How dare you, Peter?
So let's
before you move on,
let's move on.
No, don't move on, because Brett John, right? You need to give him a lot of credit because he had 2 losses in a row against 2 monsters. They were both decisions, and the way he came back as well with 2 wins in a row, absolutely brilliant. And I think he does deserve a big fight, as Vicky was saying. Get him somebody big next.
Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah, absolutely, but his heart he showed in that fight as well. It's going to take a lot to put him away. So
do you know what's pretty cool though? Because he's already fought twice this year now, and he's got plenty of room left this year to have another fight. They're talking about another fight island in September, October. He'll have 3 fights in the UFC this year, and the most he's had in a UFC in 1 year is 2 fights in a year. But in a year of a pandemic, he'll have 3 fights. That's pretty cool.
What I was going to say as well, with touching on that, Rick, is that for the British fighters who do go over there and get a win now, there's no better time for them to get a win because obviously they've had not the perfect training camps. It's been a struggle for everyone. I know everyone's in the same boat, but those guys who do get a win, they're going to come into a full training camp after the pandemic, and that's going to give them a lot of momentum. So I think, and it's not sort of to say that the guys who lost are going to be in a bad position, but I think those guys who do get wins now, when they're not able to train and having all these obstacles in the way, when they do get these wins now, I think it really does give them a lot of momentum moving forward and going on to the rest of the end of the year, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Lewis. So let's move on to Nad, who was on the card last night. The 3 of us stayed up to watch it. And kind of heartbroken. It was tough. Did you watch this one, Danny?
I did, yeah. I thought it was a great fight. I mean, obviously you guys are probably heavily invested on him, so you might be watching it a bit different to me. But I thought it was a great fight. I mean, it was explosive. He gave it all. I just think that the different level was quite obvious by the time the fight was finished. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
I think I didn't know an awful lot about Grant Dawson before the fight, and then when the commentators kept using words like special and all these other adjectives to describe him, and like obviously that submission, and he's got a ridiculous number of rear naked chokes in like his career. So Nad did so well to go the distance, and he's so durable and he's so tough, and he never gave up, and even right to the end he was looking to put him away because he knew that's what he had to do. What did you think of the fight, Ricky?
I thought, as you said, the commentators were really bigging up his opponent Dawson, and we're gonna be hearing a lot more of Dawson. Nad is such a strong guy, and this fight was a catch weight as well, so I'm not sure what the catch weight was, but it looked
150.
It was at 150, but I don't know why.
It looked like Dawson was far bigger guy than him as well, and at times
Yeah.
Nad looked very small compared to him. So I take nothing away from Nad. This Dawson's going to be a contender in the lightweight division. I can't see him making featherweight because Nad's a big featherweight, and so I just think take the loss on the chin, fight back at featherweight where you're more comfortable, and just go from there.
Yeah. Lewis, I know you were cheering Nad on as well. Didn't go our
Yeah.
way.
It's one of those, and I don't think it wasn't a bad loss, like you said. He kept going till the end. He showed a lot of heart. He was actually pressing the action at the end as well. So I think there's a lot of encouraging signs.
Yeah.
He lost, but he wasn't defeated. He wasn't beaten, I suppose is the way of looking at it. He gave his all, and it's a bit, it sucks that he's got 2 losses in a row now, but at the same time, he's a level of competitor where I think, that's only going to inspire him. We said, obviously, Brett had 2 losses in a row last year, and he's fighting better than ever now. So I think Nad, he'll take a little bit of time and have a kind of reassess, definitely back to featherweight and see what damage he can do, because he's definitely got a lot of potential and, a really good fighter. So I know he's got a lot of fans down here. I'm in Bristol, so we all want to see Nad do well and get back in the win column.
Yeah. Have you got anything to add to that, Peter, before I move
No,
on?
I just say, I was rooting for Nad all the way through, but he did take. I
Yeah.
disagree with Lewis. I think he did take a bit of a beating and all that, but as I say, he fought his heart out and got to the end. He should maybe, as Lewis say, take a bit of a time out. We always say if you lose 3 in a row, you got a chance of being cut for the UFC. So maybe just take a time out and recharge the batteries and decide where to go from here. But no, I was rooting for him. He showed a lot of heart, but we always say that with fighters that lose, don't we? But just I don't know where he goes from here.
Chris said that Nad had trouble getting inside. I just think he was.
Dawson kept throwing those knees
and that
as
well. So he was just. It was difficult for him to get inside, but tough night for Nad. But he'll be back. And then somebody else who was up against some really stiff competition was Mark Diakese. It was an excellent fight, one fight of the night. He put up an amazing post as well saying, Dana, thanks for the 50 Gs. This will allow me to take some time off to become a better fighter. And I thought, what a way to look at it, that he's just accepted that loss and he just thinks, okay, well, I need to go back to the gym and improve to walk away with the win, because it was a fairly close fight. I've seen people say that that Fiziev walked away with it, and we obviously knew a lot about his kickboxing credentials coming into it. What did you make of the fight, Lewis?
It was a great fight, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it. I think one thing about, obviously, another decision loss, so it's another case. Well, I know Peter didn't agree last time, but he lost this fight, but he wasn't sort of beaten up and quit. So that's always a positive sign for me. And one thing we know about Mark is that when he does lose, he always learns and comes back stronger. I mean, I remember he lost to, I think it was Dan Hooker. He got that guillotine before and then went away and worked really hard with his jiu-jitsu. And we saw that in the last fight with Duffy, that he really improved his ground game. So I think Mark is the kind of guy who does learn from his mistakes, win or learn, our old motto. I think he does that well. And it was a great fight. He'll take his 50 Gs and look forward to seeing him get back in there. I mean, as for his opponent, Pfizer, I mean, those body kicks were like literally a baseball bat hitting something. It was disgusting.
Oh my God, I just thought how tough Mark was because I've always known about his flashy kicking and style, but to see him just be that tough in there, and obviously that was a shot of the Matrix style.
I emceed Fiziev 2 years ago in Kazakhstan on Titan FC, and he knocked his opponent out with a body kick that night.
Yeah.
So when I saw he was matched up with Diakese, I thought, ooh, this is going to be a good fight. And but if you get a chance, look at Titan FC 51 Kazakhstan. Look for Fiziev's body kick knockout, and expect to see a lot more of him as well. And again, Mark Diakese, he'll be back. He got a great team around him, and And as Lewis touched upon earlier, he's someone who gets better and learns from his mistakes in the past. So there we go.
Even when he loses,
Yeah.
he's so entertaining. I mean, we were just touching
Yeah.
about maybe if you get 3 losses in a row, you've got a chance of being cut from the UFC. I don't think he'd even get mentioned of getting cut with 3 losses, but the way he does lose. So it's definitely only going up for him.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it as much as you can enjoy one of our fellow countrymen losing, but it was a great fight, and I'm really pleased for him that he got the bonus. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to swallow. You're getting a hello, Ricky, on the screen.
So that's the next BKB world champion heavyweight bare knuckle
We had
boxer.
him on the show
Geraint Hill.
recently.
Oh, Geraint, the sloth, legend of Welsh MMA. The Welsh Roy Nelson.
Nice to see you watching, Geraint. So a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about from last night. One was the Joe Duffy retirement after his loss. What do we think of that?
Well, Joe Duffy, they call him Irish Joe Duffy, but he's actually he moved to Ebbw Vale, the same village Lewis is from, when he was 4, and he's lived there all his life.
Yeah.
And he has a thicker Welsh accent than me and Lewis combined. So, you know, I remember watching Duffy when he was like 15 in the old grappling strike tournaments, and there was a lot of hype around him there. He actually won an amateur fight with a twister, which is completely illegal. But his coach was the referee, so who cares? And this was like 2004, so no one, no one bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where a twister was. He just saw the guy tapping. So he just saw the guy tapping. But it's a shame, really, because I remember like Richard Shaw, Shaky was Joe Duffy's main training partner at the early stages of their careers, and he was saying that Duffy will be a world champion one day. And I don't think he was wrong in the sense that like Joe has the ability, but somewhere along the line, whether it was like he took a couple of years out in between to do pro boxing, but somewhere he's just not the same. He charged in for the takedown with his and got guillotined. And someone of Duffy's stature, that's not something you do when you're mentally when you're on fire. You know, when you're mentally tough. It's such a mistake to make someone of that caliber, you know, and this he'll know it himself. And it was shaping up to be a good fight, and I was gutted because I really wanted to see him do well, really wanted a bounce back, and I think there was a marketing potential of getting Conor versus Duffy 2 in the future, but that will never happen now because he's retired. So gutted really, because he never reaches full potential that he did when he was 15-year-old boy twistering people.
Yeah, it is a shame, and I think you could actually hear that in the retirement message itself, which was pretty sad, wasn't it, Lewis?
Yeah, it's very sad, and I think Ricky hit the nail on the head. It's unfulfilled potential with Joe. You know, he's got so many skills in every area, that he could have gone on so much better. And for me, I do kind of hold out a little bit of hope that he does reconsider, because he's only 32. He's not taking too much damage. I think maybe with 3 fights in a row losing, there's a bit of a dent in his confidence. But in terms of the skills he's got, he's definitely still capable of going right the way to the top of the lightweight division, I believe. And like I said, when you talk about, I know obviously they call him Irish Joe Duffy, but he did come up in Wales, and a lot of the people here, when they think about MMA in the early days, they think about, you know, Jack Marshman and Joe Duffy, these kind of guys. So it's kind of sad to see him go out on a loss like that. But like I said, I hope he does reconsider. I think, you know, maybe a sort of fresh outlook with a new camp or a new promotion. I think he can still go on to be a champion. I mean, there's promotions outside of the UFC. Go to Bellator, one championship, or even still flourish within the UFC. So I hope Joe reconsiders an entertaining fight there, all the potential in the world. And I'd love to see him have a couple more fights, to be honest with you.
What I think he's struggling with is he just can't get it to click in there. And I think he's just become frustrated with himself. Like he said, he felt like he had an amazing camp. Everything went right. The weight cut was fine. And then he gets in there and it didn't work out for him. And I think he's just...
I seen someone comment on a post regarding Joe's retirement that maybe he should seek help from like a sports psychologist. And it works. I remember when Mark Goddard used to be a pro fighter back in the day, long time ago. Mark the Shark Goddard. You kill me for saying that because he hates his nickname. But I remember when he had a few losses, and then he went to see a sports psychologist, and he was a different fighter. He ended up fighting a guy, Ivan the Terrible, an Italian fighter, and absolutely smashing him. And then that guy got signed to the UFC then, and Mark was repping him. So it's mad, like. But like it worked for Mark, and I think maybe going down the sports psychology route would work in wonders too. You see with darts players. You see with darts players, they get like the yips and they can't throw the dart anymore. And then they go see a sports psychologist and it's a fresh slate. Maybe that's something. That's something to think about. Who knows?
I just think he was unlucky. I mean, before he walked into that guillotine, it was turning out to what could have been a brilliant fight.
It's just not the kind of mistake that we would expect him to make. Like I don't know. It's like he had a lapse of concentration. Like you say, the beginning of the fight was going well. I guess he's just maybe feels like he's every time he's lost, he's gone away and tried to address it and nothing's worked. But I don't believe in retirements in MMA, so I'm sure he will be back.
He can join Connor in the retirement home, can't he? They can have a cup of tea together and talk about old times since they're both retired now. So,
Mahedin says...
Sorry, honey, go Katie.
Yeah, I mean, it probably is. When you've got a run of bad form, how do you make yourself feel confident when you go in? It's kind of like a vicious circle, isn't it? But Mahedin said it's sports people have bad phases, especially with a sport evolving so fast. Darren Stewart was the same, but he kept at it and fixed his ways. And it's true, the sport is evolving really quickly, and you've got to stay in love with it as well. And it's not fun losing. So I wish him all the best for now, but I agree with you boys. He will be back, and we'll be very happy to see him back.
Yeah.
So a lot of other stuff happened last night as well.
Katie, hang on. Before you move on, we've got another question, which would be a good one. There you go.
What do you fellows think about the criticism from fans and some media aimed at some of the judges and refs on Fight Island? Lewis, I'll come to you first.
It's a very good question, actually. I think people obviously get angry when the decisions don't go the way they think it should have gone. But it's a difficult job, isn't it? Like you said, it's not something that just anyone can do. There's lots of interpretation when it comes to judging and opinion in a lot of ways as well. So it's a tough job. It's the same in every. Lewis. Oh, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh.
Vicky can't hear Lewis. Hang on. Vicky, why don't you leave and come back in?
Oh, good call.
There you go. But no, I think it's the same in every sport now. That when the decisions go the wrong way, people always blame the ref. It's just the nature of sport in some cases, I think. But I mean, yeah, it's tough. I think you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you got to stick with them because they only get better the more confidence you show in them a lot of the time. So I don't believe in sort of criticizing them too heavily.
No, unless it's consistent.
Yeah.
Unless consistent mistakes, constant, then we can look at it. But the one-off or even a couple, you can't really say much about it.
Yeah.
So there's kind of two instances that stood out really. One was the judging on the Max Holloway Volkanovski fight that came in for a lot of criticism. A lot of people thought that Max won that. And the other like big discussion point was the Leon Roberts stoppage of Aldo.
Can I say about Leon Roberts? People
Yeah.
are, within the UFC are talking like Dana White and a few of the fans like, who's Leon Roberts?
Best referee in the world.
And they're criticizing him big time. A lot of these people. Leon Roberts refereed his first UFC over 10 years ago, right? And do you know why? Do you know why they haven't heard of Leon Roberts? Because you only ever hear of referees when they mess up. Now, he's ref the UFC for over 10 years and hasn't put a single foot wrong. A lot of people think he had a bad night with Aldo. They should have stopped it earlier. But at the end of the day, it was the first time he's ever been flagged by anyone. And the unfortunate thing about the European-based officials is they're not protected by a sanction body like the American referees are. So they are hired by the UFC and fired by the UFC. So the only reason people have never heard of Leon Roberts is because he's never put a foot wrong in 10 years of refereeing the UFC and 15 years plus of refereeing MMA. And so there we go. I mean, don't get me wrong, you like of course Mark Godden never makes mistakes, but everybody knows Mark because he's very outspoken and he's he very opinionated and does a lot of work coaching people. But Leon has always stayed in the back and he's never put a foot wrong. So there we go. It'd be a shame if he doesn't get used by the UFC again.
It'd be a travesty. But to me, the irony is the last.
They've not said the UFC. They've not said they've sacked him. I know Dana said I want to get rid of him, but there's not been an official statement. But Leon's no refereed a fight since then, so we don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Maybe they're waiting for the dust to settle or something. But to me, the irony of it being that particular fight was the last big controversy that I can remember was Keith Peterson supposedly stopping Dominic Cruz too early in the bantamweight title fight that Cejudo won. And here we are, a fight for the vacant bantamweight title. We're saying it was stopped too late.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Exactly, and especially people always say in title fights as well. Somebody like Aldo is a legend. You know that I get both sides of the argument, but
he kept moving position.
I feel like there's enough of an argument, and he was with it enough and defending himself enough. I don't think there's any need for him not to have been refereeing the future Fight Islands. But even Dan Overheady, who obviously is a friend of mine, and I think he's like the best referee that I watch. I think he's incredible, and he was refereeing the Modestus fight, and that was the one that ended with elbows, and then it was all very strange because the guy was trying to say they were illegal elbows, then he couldn't get up. And then he fell through the cage door, and Bisping was doing his pieces that he didn't know the door had opened, and Dan was getting loads of stick online for that. So who would be a referee?
Dan was spot on.
Brilliant.
He was great positioning, clear, concise. I don't need to see the replay. I know where it landed.
It was like I could see watching live that they weren't 12-6 elbows, and they weren't on the back of the head. Have any of you seen the diagram of what consists of the back of the head?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you know that he wasn't getting clocked on the back of the head. And his last fight on Cage Warriors before going to the UFC finished the same way. That's something he specialized in, is off his back, elbow in the side of the head, and for the win. And it's something he's obviously drilled extensively.
Yeah.
They weren't 12 till 6s, and they weren't on the back of the head.
They weren't back of the head.
And Dan
we could see where they were. The camera zoomed in on the big red lump above his ear.
And I think Dan was perfect, and clearly Dana White and the hierarchy of the UFC think so too, because they awarded Modescus a bonus, so they see nothing wrong with it.
100%.
Shout out to Modestus
it's just
as well for
funny
that finish.
Yeah, brilliant finish.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
I'm gonna come on to him. He's superstar. Love him to bits.
Even without the Del Boy Barstool sketch, you know, he wasn't listening to the ref, was he? He wasn't listening regardless of the door situation.
The door is irrelevant.
No.
The door is irrelevant to me. I mean, how many fighters who are prepared to go into a second round lean against the cage anyway? A lot of them will get up and they'll walk back, but he didn't know where he was because he got hit with a succession of legal blows to the side of the head, and that's the end of it. Dan give him, if anything, a bit more of a chance than he should have had, but give him the benefit of the doubt. And at the end of the day, he called it, and there's nothing wrong with Dan's decision. I even posted about it.
I thought it was spot on, absolutely spot on, and I wasn't sure if the guy was trying to play the DQ game at that point, like as well. That was another thing that crossed my mind.
No, I think he was sparked.
Maybe, yeah. So, yeah. In anyway, I think as we've all discussed offline as well as here, we've been really impressed with the officials at Fight Island, and very proud that they've got a UK team out there that have done so well.
Definitely.
Can I just say as well, there's a lot of new officials to the Clemens Werner, Anders Olsen, and Vito Paolillo, an Italian, a Swedish, and a German fella. They've all come through the IMAF system, the IMAF judging and refereeing systems, and they've done a cracking job on their respective first UFCs as well. So big up to them guys through the IMAF system. If you want to get into judging, that's the way to go, guys.
Awesome. Nice little shout out there.
Ricky England would swear you had something to do with the IMAF system.
Well, you know me. You know, you cut me and I bleed IMAF, mate.
Right, just a couple more things to cover off on last night's event, because we're nearly 50 minutes in and we've still got another 2 to go. But I just wanted to talk about the Violence Queen's knee bar. Oh my God, that looks evil. Who saw that?
If there's ever a clip of MMA to make me realise why I don't want to do MMA, that is it. To show that to someone before we even get the white belt, show that. If you're up for it, go for it. If not, that's not for me.
I love the way the commentary team as well are like, she won't be able to get it from here. It's not happening from here. It's not. Her legs bent in half. Oh my God. And then who predicted Jack the Joker and Kelvin would go that way?
Not me.
Unreal. Absolutely
I
unreal.
did.
What? Did you?
Nah.
I want to see the betting slip.
I blame Kelvin Gaslam's hair anyway. It's Kelvin's hair. I think it
was that he put you off the man bun.
Yeah, I think. Well, he's put me off a man bun, and I think he threw himself off it with the fight as well. He spent more time backstage doing it than he should have, perhaps. I don't know. I didn't think Kelvin looked himself last night. I know it was a good finish, but I didn't think he looked himself.
Peter, we've got to. No, I totally agree with you, Lewis. Like he said that he had an amazing camp. I don't know if that's just something that everybody says, but it was. We said it earlier about someone, but it was about Joe Duffy. It was a very sloppy defense. Well, no defense. It was sloppy going into the heel hook, and then he just didn't do any of the right things.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Hermanson is known for great submissions, and he's a really tough guy. But I don't know, something seemed off about Kelvin to me last night.
It's something he would drill.
Yeah, he just didn't seem right to me last night. I mean, Kelvin is kind of notorious throughout his career for missing weight and not being the sort of most disciplined outside of the octagon. So perhaps there's something going on behind the scenes leading up to this that we didn't see with everything that he had to go through in terms of, COVID clearance and things like that. So I don't know, maybe there's something there, but we can't take it away from Jack Hermanson either. He's taking a big scalp there, and the perfect way to bounce back from a loss last time out for him. So another European fighter getting up there and making a dent in the rankings, really.
And he wants the winner of Till Whitaker. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good shout. But I would think whoever wins out of Till Whitaker is going to want to fight for the belt and fight the winner of Costa and
I totally agree, yeah.
Adesanya. So it's a tricky one. But yeah, I think you got Cannoniers up there as well. He's still a good fighter. He's on a bit of a tear. So a lot of good fighters in that division. I don't know.
Yeah. And you're getting some abuse from the real tech guy there, Peter Russell.
That's because I froze trying to freeze that image. I froze and fucking. I still need. I went to bother downloading it on my computer, so I thought I still need to fucking show it. But I thought I've missed something else. So I've got another question for you. Hang on, where is it? Here we go. So that came about 10 minutes ago. Because I froze, I couldn't play it.
I know it's away from the Fight Island subject, but has anyone else heard a rumour of Derek Chisora making a move to MMA, possibly Bellator? We did see something about that a while back, didn't we?
Derek Chisora is currently signed to fight Alexander Usyk. And if you know boxing, Alexander Usyk is the scariest cruiserweight of all time. And there's a really good video of him running on the beach the other day, just going, "Derek, I come for you, Derek." and maybe it scared Chisora so much that he's thinking about MMA, because I wouldn't want to fight Alexander Usyk. That guy is a Ukrainian beast. And Chisora's having nightmares about him now. But I can't see Derek going towards Bellator right now. He's getting too much money in boxing. As he is being promoted by Eddie Hearn on Sky,
and Derek's not stopping that knee bar either, Rick. So that's another thing. If he's terrified by the Ukrainian, he's definitely terrified by that knee bar last night, I would think.
But he is training MMA. He's training shoot fighters.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been training shoot fighters, and he says he's going to do it after this boxing match. I think David Hayes is manager, so obviously he's got the Bellator connections as well.
Yeah, maybe.
So we'll just need to wait and see.
I'm bored of all these crossover fights. I'd rather see people who are stick to what they're good at and see a really high level of that than see them.
Oh, we've got boxers in the new UFC game as well, haven't we? We've got Tyson Fury and Joshua in the new UFC game, so there's always going to be that connection. And if you want an extra million hits in your Instagram, just say I'm thinking about having an MMA fight. It's all about seeking attention.
So let's go back to MMA then.
Get right.
Let's talk about. I'm terrified of. You said he'll be petrified of Ngannou. That's true. That's true.
We want the gloves back on.
Yeah, and Ngannou's overrated. He just swings wildly.
He's still scary. Let's talk about the fact that Joe Benavidez is never going to be a UFC champion, and he was devastated last night. That was really kind of tough to watch. Looks like it was a 10-8 round, if I'm not being generous, up until the point where he got caught, and then obviously he got choked unconscious. It was really, really tough to see him go out that way. I personally think it was too close to their first fight, but I don't think that he was ever going to win that fight. And I'm not actually too sure what's next to him. But Lewis, what did you think of the flyweight title fight?
I just thought Figueiredo looked awesome. He's just a different animal at that weight class, isn't he? Striking on point, going for rear naked chokes over and over again. He just looked a savage. And he won the last fight as well. Like you said, it was not far removed from him knocking Benavidez out a couple of months ago. And to be honest, although I do like Benavidez as a fighter, he just didn't look in the same class as Figueiredo last night. And
no.
I don't think he retired. I think he will still maybe have another one or two fights. But yes, sad that you'll never get that title, but at the same time, you know, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And last night he was just completely outmatched. And Figueiredo, he looks a scary prospect for flyweight and bantamweight, I would think, because he's quite big for flyweight, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he obviously missed weight last time. Like, the worst thing that could happen to that division is if he misses weight and like they're not able to carry on with these title fights. But I don't actually know who you match him up with next. Ricky, have you got any ideas who could be next for him?
Yeah, Aaron EB from North Wales. Not even signed to the UFC yet, but being biased towards
Mahidin, I'd love to see that fight. Mahidin in a few years. That'd be awesome.
Let me tell you
I'm
about
glad that
he's class.
Go on, Ricky.
I emceed his last fight in, I think you were there, in Cage Warriors South, some Essex way. Oh, it was pleasure to watch. Like, so yeah, I'll back him to Figueiredo in 5 years' time. Muhyiddin, be a great fight.
Yeah, I've watched Mahidin many times now. He brings a massive crowd with him. He's super talented, and he is one of the reasons why I really want the flyweight division to stick around in the UFC. Because there is talent coming through. It's just immediately for Figueiredo, I don't know who there is, and they're kind of back to that Mighty Mouse dilemma of throwing people to him too soon before they're ready, because he's beat everyone.
He's beat everyone throughout the division as well on his way up, so that's another problem they've got. I wouldn't be surprised if Figueiredo starts calling out for Peter Yan straight away, if I'm honest. Like I said, he's massive. He's big for the weight class, and there's not really much at flyweight for him. I'd like to see him make a few defenses, but I mean, who he's going to fight is, you know, it's anyone's guess at the minute.
Cejudo, he's tried to call Dana's bluff. Dana wouldn't have it. He'll be back. He'll be back to fight for the titles again. Just watch.
Well,
I think he wants to fight Volkanovski, because he wants to be the first triple-weight champ. So I could see him coming back if Dana would make that fight. It also is really annoying me that Dana won't say that Aljo's next for the title, because I think he's more than earned it. But that makes me think there could be sneaky in his back pocket, like Figueiredo coming up. But to save the flyweight division, I think he needs to stay down there and be active. And Muhyiddin's got some ideas, but I just felt, I did check out the records of some of those people and watched a couple of fights. I just feel like it might be slightly too soon for them, but we shall see. We've got to move on because we've been on air for an hour and we still haven't spoken about Jack Shaw. So on Wednesday night, he just did everything right, pretty much like his first fight in the UFC. But do you know what I love about watching Jack Shaw fight? He never gives me heart palpitations because he's always in control. I never feel like anything's going to slip out of his control. He just dominates the whole thing. Lewis, tell me what it was like for you.
I mean, I do get heart palpitations. I'm a big Jack Shaw fan, so just when he steps in there, I get like a little bit of a heart flutter. But yeah, no, like you said, it was a perfect performance. The guys in the commentary said it, didn't they? They said compared to GSP.
I love that.
Yeah, the best comments he could have had, really. But yeah, perfect performance. He doesn't look phased. Jack, when he gets in that cage, he just looks completely at home, completely relaxed. And I interviewed him before, and he said he just is going to go in and impose his will, and that's exactly what he did. So can't fault it. Amazing performance. He's very down to earth as well in the interview after, saying that he'd like to maybe take another fight kind of outside of that top 15 and just improve. He's not looking to sort of rush and get just a load of fights, and he wants to improve after every fight, which shows that he's got the right mentality for this, and he's looking at the bigger picture as opposed to rushing through. And yeah, another one in the books for Jack Shaw. And I think every Welsh fan now is really excited because the sky really is the limit for this guy. So yeah, everyone's really looking forward to see what's next for him.
Didn't he say that he was sloppy in the first round? I
Yeah.
must have missed that.
Yeah, he thought he thought he was sloppy.
Did you think the first round was sloppy?
No, well, not from my eyes.
It was awful. I mean, no. with Jack, he has never showed the level. He's never had to show the level he can operate at, because everything you throw at him, like every time, even in the Cage Warriors title picture, people are saying, "Oh, this guy's going to be a challenge for him." Malone, Jefferson, I think Jefferson, Airways,
Eckendale.
Eckendale.
Yeah. They said, "Oh, this guy's going to be a challenge for him," and he just levels up every time. And we haven't seen what Jack can do, because every time he's at the fight, he's brushed them away with so much ease. So one day, when he fights someone like a big name, you're going to see the best of him and what he can really do. Because I think he just didn't even break a sweat. And
No.
if Dana White said to him, like, I think, who's on the card next week? Frankie Edgar's on the card next week. Is Frankie fighting Saturday or Wednesday?
No, that fight got cancelled.
He got taken off, didn't he?
Oh, but if Frankie Edgar
Munoz was did he tested positive for COVID?
But what I'm saying is, if they said the Tank, because he brushed with Soys, if they said to Jack, "Oh, fight Edgar next week," do you know what? I'd back him to win, because I think he's got so much in his arsenal that we haven't seen, because he's just a level above everyone he fights. He just takes he levels up. You used to watch Dragon Ball Z when he level up all the time, and he's like that. We don't even know what he's capable of. None of us do. Maybe his teammates do, but is so much more that he hasn't had the chance to show yet, because he's just brushes them aside with so much ease. So I'm looking forward to him coming up the rankings and seeing the best that he's got to give, because it is so much more to give, and it's coming, boy. It's coming.
Yeah. Rick, I was going to say as well, out of Jack's whole career, he's 13-0 now. I can't remember, apart from one round against Scott Malone, I can't remember Jack losing another round outside of that in 13 professional fights and a bunch of amateurs as well. That's the only one round I can remember him losing was the first round against Malone. He's just been perfect every fight other than that.
And that first round against Malone, he didn't even break a sweat then. He just took his time. And when he kept getting up, you could see Malone's heart break. But as you said, Jack was 12-0 as an amateur. He was the IMAF European champion, fought 4 guys in 3 days. Didn't lose a round there. And that was at lightweight. He's 20 pounds lighter now fighting. And a lot of the guys he beat and are still fighting at lightweight. They're so much bigger than him still. And he's never lost a round. Apart from that one against Malone, which he didn't lose the round. Like, he lost the round, but he didn't get hurt. Not one bit. Like, he just got put in a position that he weren't even uncomfortable in. So we
Peter's dying to talk about his tweet that's on the screen there before we all ignore it.
What's this?
What's this? On the UFC broadcast, saying great performance from future UFC champion Jack Shaw. So, yeah, shout out to Peter for making MMA UK famous on the UFC broadcast. And I just want to give a shout out to Aaron Phillips as well, who worked so hard. He was cut from the UFC a few years ago, and they chucked him back in with Jack Shaw. So, poor Aaron, I hope he wins his next one. It wasn't his fault that he got Jack Shaw on his return. Bless him. Anything else that you guys wanted to say about Jack before we move on?
He's the greatest British fighter I've ever seen at this stage of his career. He's going to become the GOAT of British MMA. That's what he's going to do. He's going all the way. I've said that for a couple of years now. He's going all the way. Easy.
Yeah,
Been doing this his
he
whole life.
looked
This is his life.
unstoppable.
Yeah. This is the standard we're going to see from now on. Because Jack's been doing this since he's a wee boy, and it's going to all the
Yeah.
other fighters in the future are going to be like him as well. It's going to be crazy the standard we're going to. Jack's going to take it to a new level, and then the level after that is going to be even crazier.
Yeah. And it's not even just the training. It's just the pace that they're going to set his career at as well, and having Richard there to guide him the whole way is just going to be, you know, like you say, the gold standard for how it should be done. And you know, I couldn't be more happy for him, and to see the success he's having. The next UK fighter on the card, it wasn't a happy night for him, Chris Fishgold. I love Fishy. I've been watching Fishy for years in Cage Warriors. I was shocked he missed weight. And he was so disappointed. He won't make excuses for it. And he won't make excuses for the fight, but he said he had, Danny, you mentioned to me you thought he looked knackered. He said he just had,
he wasn't there,
he
was
had
he?
a terrible weight cut. He did his best to make it, and then he just had nothing in him, like a couple of minutes in. So it was such a disappointing night for him. And I can't imagine how miserable it is when you've wanted a fight for such a long time. I think it's over a year since he last fought, desperate to get back in there, and then you just can't get anything going. It must be so frustrating. And he got dominated, and he lost the decision. It was a very one-sided decision, and I feel so sorry for him. I've spoken to him a couple of times, and he just wants everyone to know that's not him. Who?
Yeah, he even had a statement.
Romero Santos.
Who's that?
No bend.
MMA is boring.
Don't watch.
Don't watch it then.
Who the fuck is he watching then? The fights this year, the standard of MMA this year has been absolutely brilliant. Every single fight night has been good.
There should be a pandemic every year.
We're going to clip that.
Well, don't say that, because we had 3 months of watching nothing. It's just,
that's
happened
true.
that we're getting it all catching up.
Have you been watching QFC?
Romero, you're allowed an opinion,
Ah,
but you don't have to watch.
You've came in the wrong place for that opinion, that's for sure.
Do we talk about that on air? Can we talk about QFC? I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
No comment.
I've obviously nothing like it.
Do you guys know about QFC?
QFC,
Yeah, a
that's
little
brilliant.
bit.
Quarantine fight night. All the MMA journeymen are fighting up a mountain.
Yeah, Wes is
knocking each
fighting,
other out.
yeah. You've been absolutely entertaining me. Absolutely brilliant.
That's why
wonder
Danny
I wonder
was
what
planning the
I'm
fights
thinking
for the
about
show. He's only been watching them.
Yeah, that's why I was the list of fights, and I'm like, I'm not seeing any of these. Talk about QFC instead.
Oh, so which one are you as a fighter then?
Ricky.
Undefeated.
Yeah,
Ricky was an animal back in the day.
I'm undefeated as well.
And Katie as well. Here you go.
Let's put our O's on the line, Katie.
Somebody know must go.
Intergender MMA.
Oh, Ricky, we've been here before, mate. We interviewed a pile of these about 2 years ago, and it was a complete disaster. Like it was the biggest disaster I've ever seen. Like unbelievable.
We're interviewing the boss. Remember, he goes, "All my taxis here to take me to the airport, to take me to Russia."
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Honestly, he was a former UFC fighter, I think, wasn't he? And
yeah.
He made up this bullshit story that they were taking these fighters to Russia for a man to fight a woman, but in the end they just did it in like a shed in their back garden in America somewhere, and the guy died on the floor, and the girl like jumped on top. It was like a fake fight. It was
a fake knee or something. You don't get my fake
it was horrendous. Honestly, like
a pay-per-view, isn't it?
That was a low point for us, I think, wasn't it, Peter?
Yeah.
That's one of Peter's highlights, I reckon.
Have I missed the 3-in-1 for QFC? We're doing a 3-on-1, aren't we? Have I missed that? Is that happened yet?
I've not seen that one.
You've not seen that advertised? No, 3-on-1 we're doing.
Who's the one? Is the one a professional fighter, and the 3 are just numpties?
I think he knows how to fight. I've not got the info though.
Yeah, I've not seen that one.
I reckon he'll win.
Right.
Is he talking about right wingers in football, or the MMA is more popular with right wingers?
I think he means do racists like MMA. Look, mate, I am a massive tree-hugging lefty vegan, and I love MMA. So that question is null and void.
Herbie Hyde was a boxer, wasn't he? Did you know a heavyweight boxer back in the day? Herbie Hyde.
Yeah, I thought it was a beetle. Remember Herbie?
Yeah, the little car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Herbie Goes Bananas, that was the best one.
No, you're right. I love that one.
Right.
Back to UFC.
Back to UFC.
Yeah.
Okay, so bad night for Fishy, but send you all our love, Fishy. We know you'll be back. We know you don't feel like that was you. Modestus Bakauskas. Oh my gosh. Like, so he actually had a badly injured leg going into that fight. And up until the end of the round, I actually was pointing it that he lost the first round. How did everyone else score that round up until the last 10 seconds?
I think I was watching Stranger Things at the same time, so I
thought he's losing it. I thought he's losing it narrowly. I did, but
yeah, so did I.
It's Modestus, and like we've seen him so many times in the Cage Wars where he'll be under the cosh, losing the round, and then he'll just pull something out the bag. He's so explosive, so powerful, and he's calm. You know, he's confident in his power. He's confident in his ability, and like I say, we've seen so many times on this UK circuit now with Modestus. I remember once I think he was losing like 3 rounds, and then he come out in the 4th and smashed the guy. So, you know, as long as he's in there, he's in for a shot. And I think in that division, he's got a long way to go. You know, he's the division is not that packed at the moment, and he's a very talented guy. So I think Modestus can go a long way in the UFC.
Yeah, and I won't go over the stoppage because we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
We all agreed with it, but like you say, he's used those elbows to work his way to TKO victory before. It's part of his toolbox, and it was awesome to see him make his debut. And yeah, just congratulations! Awesome to see him pick up the 50 Gs as well. Just couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Romero said he lost more than the first round, which would have been difficult because the fight was over in the first round and he won it. But
could you be a second and you fell to change, you fucking numpty?
So yeah, I thought it was an excellent start to his career. Lerone Murphy, the miracle Lerone Murphy. I had the pleasure of interviewing him this morning. Danny, what a fight!
Oh, it's absolutely made up for him. Stayed up for it. I had work the next day, but I knew I had to stay up for it. And it was well worth staying up for. Just what a guy. I mean, I can't watch your interview this morning. He says, what did he say? Bad training camp. Niggly wasn't confident, almost pulled out.
Yep.
What a mistake that would have been. He's done his, he's done Manchester team, super proud. He took him down. Everyone was thinking Ramos would be more than overconfident with him on the ground game.
Yeah.
I think the commentators were like, oh, he doesn't want to be here. His cornerman won't be happy with the takedown. Finishes him. What more is there to say?
What I didn't realise until I spoke to him was that he told Bisping he was going to keep it on the feet. So that's why Bisping kept going, oh, it's not part of the game plan to take him down. Because I was thinking, how would you know? But
absolutely
we'd
phenomenal.
seen him in the lobby and he wanted to give him something to talk about on the commentary. But that was a spectacular finish as well, wasn't it? Against a very dangerous opponent.
Yeah, I think the first time he took him down, he landed a big shot. I think the guy was half gone from that. But apart from the finish, what were those kicks? Instead of watching footage on Ronaldinho, we should have been watching footage on Lerone Murphy.
What's your language,
I think that was probably me. Somebody's commented, please don't curse. My sons are watching.
Danny, you didn't watch your language.
I didn't know I even swore. I'm just quite excited. I'm excited about his win. I didn't even know I swore, sorry.
No, I don't think Fishy was cocky at all going into that fight. But
No,
no.
pretty humble guy.
We interviewed him before as well, and
Yeah,
he just
3 times
sounded
you interviewed him, Katie.
3 times, yeah. But yeah, he sounded confident and like he had a point to prove. I didn't think he was cocky at all. Going back to Lerone, actually, I was going to say he seemed so confident in there, and yet when you speak to him, he always says that he wasn't feeling confident, and he always says that his coaches have got more confidence in him than he's got in himself. But when you see him in there, he looks so just like natural, and it is the Late Show, Grant, yeah. After the watershed. But yeah, I just thought that was a superb fight. Have you guys seen the meme of him that they've made of him naked? The one where he's showing Dana.
Yeah, Danny added that one to his wank bank, didn't you, Danny?
I made it. I made it.
I just think that proves as well you're no one until there's a meme about you, and that went viral. So I'm happy for him. And another Brit getting the 50 Gs. I thought that was just excellent. The whole thing from start to finish, and the fact that he took it to the ground and finished him there, just superb. I think that he's going to go a long way in that featherweight division. He's had 2 really, really tough tests for his first 2 UFC fights and come through it unscathed. And Dana said to him afterwards that he loves him and he loves his style of fighting. So I think we're going to maybe get even a name or a top 15 shortly.
I think he's gonna be given a
Oh,
big name.
please don't encourage him. Oh, no.
Yeah, baby.
Nobody needs to see nipples.
Can you turn the brightness down, please?
You're paler than Brett Johns. Oh dear. So, Welsh guys, back to you. Is it Ricky's hair's looking like he's done 2 rounds with Noxie? Oh dear. Let's go back to you guys to talk about the John Phillips fight. I'm sorry, we've got to talk about this one. Number one, I've got to talk about how brilliant John Phillips is. Just to watch him on fight week, he's so much fun. And I've never felt so happy for someone making weight. And there was this American woman telling him to put his shorts back on before he took his photos. And he was celebrating.
He must be like me.
God,
He must be like me. Likes to take his clothes off when you can.
Yeah. He just, I don't know, he just lights up a room. I find him he's someone that always puts a smile on my face. I love seeing him on a card, but obviously this wasn't his night, Lewis.
Yeah, it wasn't his night. The thing is with John, it's one of the good things about him, but it's also a negative thing about him. He's kind of a fighter's fighter, a man's man. He'll fight anyone at any time, and I think a little bit with this, I think the UFC did him a little bit dirty, really, because the guy he was supposed to be fighting is, a guy who'll stand and bang usually, and obviously John is that style of fighter. He prepared for that, and then obviously just before he gets on the plane, they tell him he's going to be fighting Khamzat, yeah, a decorated wrestler, big guy, and stylistically wasn't great, and he was short notice for him. So I do feel a little bit sorry for him in that respect. He took the fight, he went out there and gave it his all, but on the night, it wasn't his night. He had a bit of a beatdown, and sad to see John lose like that. But I do hope that the UFC keep him on and give him another shot at Todorovic.
I hope that nobody gets cut off the back of any of these losses. There's so much chop and change with the last minute cancellations and the jet lag and just the quarantining everywhere and just Ricky, you're getting
Ricky, why are you so sensitive
about this one? Are you able to talk about it?
Well, yeah, of course. Obviously, as Lewis said, John was meant to fight another striker and it got changed, and I work a lot in Sweden, and when the Swedish fighters fight in Wales, I usually pick them up from the airport. So they've been raving about Khamzat Shazayev for a long time. He's a welterweight, an active
Yeah.
fight with. He is like Alexander Gustafsson's main sparring partner at All Stars Gym. A Chechen fella, Chechen immigrant, moved over to Sweden to fight, and they have been raving about him. I've had so many Swedish people just like sending me messages. Oh, your boy's gonna get smoked, and I'm like, and thing is, they believe that he's going to be the next Khabib. They believe he's going to be the next welterweight champion. They would take a fight with Usman tomorrow, legit.
Okay.
He would, and most of the Swedes would back him to win. So when I heard John
So
was
Rick-
going to fight this guy that they're all raving about, I was really nervous because John is so entertaining to watch, and this guy was never going to play John's game in his UFC debut, especially when he's a welterweight coming up to middleweight to meet John. Do you know? And obviously, Khamzat is very popular with Dana, and because he's fighting on the next card.
Rhys McKee.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. How does this
Well,
bode for Rhys McKee at welterweight, making his welterweight debut, the 96 Cage Warriors alumni? It's such a tough debut for Rhys, isn't it?
Well, that's
He's
it.
got his work cut out.
He obviously he's not going to turn down a shot at the UFC. Rhys, of course, I'm sure he's new to the welterweight scene. I'm sure I've seen him in the lightweights and
the fact he's just come up from lightweight as well, and this guy's just fought at middleweight.
And not just fought at middleweight. I mean, you know, John is a very big middleweight as well, and he handled John with relative ease. Now I'm fighting a guy called Skeletor, so he's going to be confident in getting another win. And but you don't say no to the UFC. Rhys might pull up the upset, and a lot of the Northern Irish contingent are backing him to win, and they will, because he's a fighter's fighter, and there was no way he was going to turn down this shot. And I'm excited for this fight, but
I'd love to know what Rodney Moore made of the matchup, because Graham obviously released the footage of him telling Rhys that he's in the UFC, which was amazing. But then he goes at the end of it, he goes, "Who have I got?" And Graham just goes, "Mmm." He goes, "Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
I actually cried watching that, and then I had a wank afterwards to cheer myself up.
Oh, Peter! But I just wondered what Rodney Moore thought of him having that as his fight, because I would have thought that he got the final say on whether Rhys said yes. Or was it just a case of we'll take anyone, just get us a UFC fight?
Well, I heard he's got a 4-fight contract, so there's no shame in losing the UFC debut on a couple of days' notice during a pandemic. And he hasn't even fought yet. There's a good chance he might win. Who knows?
Remember Craig White's fought in short notice, and then he lost them all after that.
And then. But he's still got another 3 fights in the UFC after that. I mean, he's not going to turn on the UFC. This game behind the Northern Irish lad, and hope he pulls off the win. I know the Swedes. I know Reza. If you're still watching, you're going to be in disagreement with me here. But yeah, let's hope Rhys gets the win here.
Rhys is a tricky guy as well. He's very tall. He's very tall. He's long. I think he'll offer Khamzat a very different challenge than what John Phillips offered. So it's obviously a short notice for him, but it's short notice for Khamzat. I wouldn't imagine he's too familiar with Rhys, and I think it's going to be a hard night. But I think he's going in with a chance, and I really hope he can win. I am a little bit sad because I was looking forward to see Rhys McKee fight for the Cage Warriors title, but you know he's made the jump. He's made the jump, and all the best to him.
Yeah, but if we go back even further, we wanted him to fight Ross Houston for the belt, didn't we? That would have been a cracking
Yeah.
fight as well, and then that's all went to shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna back Reese in this fight. I don't know. He surprised me before. Let's not forget that he's knocked Jai Herbert out. Like he's. I'm gonna back him. So it's gonna be a very, very, very tough fight. But yeah,
He's got a puncher's chance,
to
but
do it.
he's got a puncher's chance.
No,
but
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. He'll have a good game plan, and I don't think it'll be about having a puncher's chance.
He's got a good team behind him as well, Reese has. He's got a very good set of coaches and training partners. So I think Reese is going in with a chance.
Chris, we are going to come on to Till Whittaker. We'll move on. Let's try and wrap up the rest of this card. Let's only do the Brits. I can't move off this card without talking about Molly. Molly. She put everything into this camp. Literally, she's from the second that the London card was off, she carried on with her fitness. She wanted to be the first person back in the cage. She couldn't have done any more, tried any harder, and it wasn't her night. She'll be back. What's Chris saying? You're getting some abuse here, Ricky.
Chris, I went to Sweden to have my hair cut. I went all the way to Sweden, met your missus. I went on, so like hairdress, but yeah, you are right with Lewis's mop. I mean, I like it anyway. Looks
Thank
like
you, Ricky.
Young Justin Bieber.
A fat Justin Bieber, Frankie called me.
Yeah.
I didn't read that one out, Lewis. I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. Guys, it's going to be gone tomorrow. So Chris Emmanuel.
I think you're getting a man bun.
I've had too much stick, Peter. I'm not doing it anymore. I've been ground down by the masses, and I'm shaving it all off.
Let me think about it. No, I'm not putting my top back on.
I say, what's more important, Louis getting a haircut or you putting your t-shirt back on? I think I'm going for the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Has anybody got anything left to say on that event before we move on? We're an hour and a half in.
Yeah, the one with Molly, though, she fought with heart, but you can see even at the very end with 10 seconds to go, you think she'd give up. She didn't. She actually got back to her feet with 3 seconds to go and gave her a punch. So that's how much heart she got. She didn't give up. She even thought I could maybe knock her out the last second, got up and slapped her one. So
Molly reminds me of Tony Bellew, the boxer, not just because they're both Everton fans and scouts, but they got that huge they got that passion, and Bellew lost early in his career to Cleverly, and then he lost again, but then he came back to be the WBC world champion, and I think it's never going to be the last you see of Molly, because you know, you it's like you cut a limb off, she'll grow two. She's that type of person. She'll be back. Don't worry about that. There's plenty more from Molly McCann, without doubt.
Yeah, it's just hard to see her gutted, because she was on a bit of a roll and she was doing well, and she feels like she's had a setback, and like I say, she'd put everything that she possibly could. You can tell. Look at her, even physically, from where she was when she joined the UFC. Like
she's another one like Jacasey, though. She's another one like Jacasey who she lost her debut and came back a lot better. She worked on a lot of things. So I think she's in that same boat as Jacasey. She'll take the positives from that and learn from the negatives, and she's going to come back then in much better shape for her next fight. So I think it's a lost bump in the road, but Molly's going to be back, and love watching the meatball fight. So
I think she's over it anyway. If you look at her Facebook earlier on the night, she posted a video called "Free the Nip." So I'd just like to dedicate this to Molly. Free the nip. There you go, Molly. In the video, you know what I'm talking about.
We can't unsee that.
Molly will like it. She likes the nipples to be free. So if you go check out her Facebook, you'll see what I'm talking about.
So two more Brits that I want to cover from 251 really, really quickly. Peter, do you want to talk about Danny Henry?
Not really, because he got his ass kicked. No, no, but he made a mistake. He's gutted himself. We don't need to tell you about that. I spoke to James as well on the Rips. I mean, made a mistake. I do want to say one thing. Mac won the respect he showed after the fight, and that a lot of people jumped on that as well when he lifted up his legs and all that to help him recover and all that. So respect to Mac one for that. Mac one's an exciting talent, so I take this away for Danny. I can't wait to see what's next for Max one the next couple of fights because he does have the talent to become a champion. As for Danny, a bit of pressure now, a couple of losses in a row. So hope to take a bit of time out and see what's next for him.
It's so frustrating when somebody's got that one move and you've been drilling it.
Yeah.
And then you still make the mistake and it happens. Like you just must be kicking yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'll be harder on himself than we are, whatever we say. So everybody makes mistakes. Referees, judges, whatever. You need to get over. It's a mentality now, isn't it? You need to get over that and go on with it.
Use it for fuel.
Yeah, he's got a great team at high. He's got a great team at higher level, and I'm pretty sure they'll get him going. What's fucking saying? Oh, Spud!
What's the name of the guy?
Get me and Spud on QSD.
Oh God! And the other fighter I wanted to mention was Davey Grant. Oh my God, what a fight that was! I was loving that, and I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't know who was getting knocked out, but I knew someone was. And he broke his jaw. He turned around to Dana and said, "I broke my jaw." He's been in hospital having it reset since he got home. But he got the 50 Gs. He got the knockout. That looked brutal as well, didn't it, Ricky?
Yeah. I mean, like when the pandemic happened and I lost all my work, first thing I did was delete Fight Pass, and then I bought it ready for Davey Grant's fight. It was the first fight I'd watched in the UFC for months, and I was like, yes, this is what it's about. And the fight was back and forth. You didn't know who was gonna be on top towards the end, and then that just came out of nowhere. And he's had a tough career with injuries and stuff.
Yeah,
he's been around forever. And you look at his fight record, and he's just like, he hasn't had that many fights for someone who's been around for such a long time. Really tough for Davey Grant.
Lots of injuries, isn't it? He's been him and his opponent were both. I think his opponent was his first fight in 2 years. I think they both of them were in the same boat, suffered a lot of injuries, and this was like their. And plus, Davey gets his jaw broken, so he got injured again. It just doesn't have no luck whatsoever. But he's such a fucking nice guy. I think he's like the first big name fighter I met when I started covering the local scene. He's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't be much happier.
I'm sure I'm right in saying, if I'm not, then I really apologise. But I'm sure Paddy Houlihan in his book said that when he turned up to the tough auditions, Davey Grant was there in a Jerry Halliwell Union Jack dress and platforms. If I've made that up, it's really weird. So I better fact check that when I get off. But it's stuck in my mind, and I just thought he must be an absolute laugh to have a beer with as well. But it's so nice to see those bonuses go to people like that, and I just couldn't be happier for all the guys who've won them so far. We better fast forward because we're over an hour and a half in, and let's look forward to the Till Whittaker card this Saturday. I don't know what I'm going to do when Fight Island's over. It's been just such a joy to have all of my favourites.
The way it's going, there'll be more Fight Islands. The way it's happening in America, so they might have to come back over here. So.
Yeah,
not that we want them to come over for that reason, but
I've seen some of the Yanks moan about like the weakness of the card, and it's like, well, put them on at a decent time for us then, because I'm absolutely loving the lineups. So yeah, let's get a few predictions for some of the Brits then. What do we think is going to happen in Till Whittaker, Lewis?
I think it's a good fight for Darren Till. Whittaker's primarily a striker, and Darren Till has proven when he fights strikers, usually he wins. You know, they've got a common opponent in Wonderboy Thompson. Thompson knocked out Whittaker, and obviously Darren Till beat him. So I think it'll be close. I think it'll take place on the feet, and I think Darren Till will sneak out a decision on that one.
He's very good at fighting tactically when he
Yeah.
has to. Like, he comes across, he says silly things online and stuff, and you think he's a messer. And obviously, he does have that propensity somewhere to stand and bang, but he's very good at turning on the game plan when he needs to.
Yeah,
Have you got him in that fight, Ricky? Sorry, Lewis, go.
No, I was just going to say, I think he'll pick his shots on Whittaker, and then when Whittaker comes in, I think he'll clinch, and I think he'll take out a decision.
I really think it depends as well what Whittaker we see, because obviously he walked away from I think the fight before his last one with just like wanting to get his head straight. So I guess none of us know where he is with that either.
He's a world class fighter. Obviously, he got knocked out in his last fight, so we don't know where he's head at. And he's had a few, as you say, he's taken time out and all. For
some nasty injuries as well.
Yeah, so it's one of those fights that could go either way. I think it will go a decision. I think if we get the normal Whittaker we've seen recently, I think he'll edge out a decision against Darren. But I'm hoping Darren is evolving as well. We don't know what Darren Till's going to show up either. So
yeah,
I hope Darren doesn't just stand there and just try and go for that one knockout blow. I hope he's evolved and he mixes it up and all that. So I think it's going to be a cracker. I reckon it'll go all the way. It'll be a decision either way.
Nice.
From his Gastelum fight, I think that he's definitely, and the Wonder Boy fight, he's definitely got him in him to fight like that. Who are you going for, Ricky?
Till. I think he's got a momentum, and I love his photoshops. So like anything that keeps him in the spotlight and keeps making funny photoshops, he's got my backing 100%.
Yeah.
Phil.
Well, we've got Costa. If you look at the question now, Costa's got the title shot.
After we go to Danny, I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Danny, anyway.
I'm going for Till. I am going for Till. I'm a massive Whittaker fan, but I think Till might head this one. I think Whittaker's going through a lot the last couple of years. So is Till, but I think Till's going to edge it. I don't think it'll go the distance. I think they'll both think we've got something to prove. I think we both think we've got something to prove because of the recent decisions, and I think it'll be a blasting round either way. Be a blasting fight.
Yeah. Peter, pick which question you want to. It'll be a huge win for Till if he gets it. It would really catapult him. Halfway through the question, you've
no, this is the question. It's the same it's the same answer. There you go.
What do you think
the
should be next for the winner of the main event?
Yeah, they might get a title shot, wouldn't they, to get the winner of Costa. Costa's got the title shot, isn't he? Was that not just announced?
I've seen something about that before. I don't know if it was confirmed.
But the Costa fight is September.
Yeah, so it could be the winner of this fight, the winner of that fight. Makes sense.
I think that if Darren Till wins, he will fight Adesanya for the belt. If obviously Adesanya wins, if Whittaker wins and Adesanya wins, I don't think they make Whittaker Adesanya again.
No.
And also if Costa beats Adesanya and Till beats Whittaker, I don't know if they make Till and Costa either. I think it all depends. I think it all depends on who wins in this one. I think they might look to put if Costa wins, they might look to give him someone like Cannonier or someone like that. But if Adesanya wins and Till wins, I think that's the next fight.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. Who do we think is going to win that fight? God, I'm going to make this program even longer. Apologies, everyone. Who've we got in Izzy Costa?
Adesanya round 2 knockout.
Listen, I've had this theory that they announced the fight today, but they didn't announce the venue. And I'm obsessed with rugby, especially what happens on the Southern Hemisphere. And whereas New Zealand have eliminated COVID-19, they've gone back to having full rugby stadiums for their matches. And I've been watching it religiously. Now, Dana White knows this. He was asked about it in a recent interview. And I think Israel Adesanya versus Costa fight will be in a full arena in New Zealand in September. I bet my life on it. And I'm looking forward to seeing a live UFC with an actual crowd in the background. because as much as I like watching snooker, it sounds like you watching snooker. I'd rather watch like a fight with a loud crowd, and I want to hear the crowd's reaction, and I can't wait for Israel versus Costa because it'll be the first UFC, if my prediction comes true, with a crowd. So can't wait for that.
I'm
I
actually
do
enjoying the no
like that
crowd.
you can, yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
Danny. I prefer no crowd. You can hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
And all that. I love it.
And there's none of that whoo that you get. That seems to be the go-to noise that everyone makes. I don't know where that came from,
That
but
does
Ric
my
Flair.
nutting. It's from wrestling. Yeah.
I was heard this
Oh.
from.
Just when you thought Peter couldn't get any more annoying, he just whoa.
You know, Peter is that guy making the noise at the events as well.
I'm the one with UFC written on my forehead.
So we've got Paul Craig fighting on Saturday as well. Noxie, you got the lowdown from his coach earlier.
Yeah, I was speaking to Paul coach earlier. I can't give away the game plan. I don't know why they fucking told me it, but no, Paul.
No,
Paul,
let's.
the guy Paul's fighting's a monster. Even though he's lost 2 in a row, they usually give Paul undefeated fighters making their debut, but they decided to give him something else this time. But the guy on the ground, he's a bit of a nutcase. First round, he'll go for you. He'll try and take you down. He'll submit you, or he'll knock you out. That is his MO. That's what he's going to try and do to Paul Craig. Paul can beat you off your back. Remember that last second submission, so it's never over with Paul. But I've got a feeling Paul's going to try and you'll catch him coming in. It's a very, very tough fight. Paul's the favourite for a change, but because the guy's coming off 2 losses. But the guy, I think he's won the ACA, ACB, ABC, whatever you call it. I think he was a champion there.
Yeah.
Sambo champion as well and all that. So it's a very dangerous fight because he's coming off 2 losses. People think this guy's shite, but he is an absolute monster. And the first round's going to be epic. He's gonna come for Paul's throat. But I think Paul will catch him. But it's going to be an exciting first round. Put it that way. The guy, most of his fights are first round finishes. Nearly all his fights. I think he's won for the second round, but he'll go for it for the first round. So it's going to be exciting. But my money's on Paul to catch him. But my predictions for the British fighters, especially the Scottish ones, have not been very good recently. So hopefully we get a change of luck.
Oh well, best of skill to Paul. Yeah, and also Shogun's on the card as well. Shame we didn't get to see that rematch.
Yeah.
Ricky, do you want to indulge Garay on his?
I don't know what he means. It's not one of my catchphrases. So, well, yeah,
I wish you hadn't asked that question, Geraint.
Oh dear.
I know what it is. I'm not even Welsh.
Okay. We've spoken about Reese already, and gone around what we think about that one. So, in the interest of time, let's move on to Jai Herbert and Trinaldo. I can't wait to see Jai in the UFC. It's going to be amazing. I am so excited to see him show the world what he can do. Lewis, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Very exciting matchup. Trinaldo, obviously a veteran in the sport, being in the UFC, fought the who's who in the UFC. And then obviously you've got Jai coming up, who's a Cage Wars champion. Really exciting. Looked brilliant his last few fights. So I think it's a perfect matchup because Trinaldo is kind of a little bit of a gatekeeper in that division at this point as well. Great fight. Trinaldo's dangerous, but I think if Jai goes in with the right game plan, I think he gets a decision, picks him apart, and maybe even a late stoppage. But I think Jai definitely gets the win.
Yeah, Chris Emmanuel says Jai by a straight up murder.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. Danny,
Trinaldo
we know
is
that you only watch UFC, so do you know who Jai is?
Do we? Who are you on about? Is he in QFC? I'll go for him anyway.
It's been a great year. a great year for Jai, and he just had a baby as well, and now we call up for the UFC, and it's been a really good year for him. And he's one of those. When he gets that UFC call up, he's earned it. He's really earned it, and I can't wait to see him either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that a full house of us all saying that Jai's going to win? Yeah. And finish? I reckon he's going to get the finish.
I'm on the fence about the finish. I think he might get a late finish, but I think he'll go with the. I think Jai will go in with the sort of tactics of trying to pick him apart from the outside, and if kind of Trinaldo then falls behind and comes forward and really aggressively, Jai will look to catch him with something, a nice counter. But I definitely see Jai getting the win. Even though Trinaldo is a tough guy and one of those gatekeepers, so yeah, best of luck to Jai.
Well, they called Michael Bisping a gatekeeper, and he went on to win a UFC belt. So be careful who you call a gatekeeper.
Yeah, no disrespect to Trinaldo, but he is he's in that kind of mold in the UFC at the minute, isn't he? Like when he's fought the top guys, he's lost guys in the kind of top 5, top 10.
He's experienced. It's a really good challenge for Jai's first fight.
It's hard.
It's a tough challenge for his debut. Yeah,
hard fight. That is hard fight.
You just don't know what happens when you turn up there for your first fight and how you feel, how the nerves hit you and all that. Anything could happen. That's why MMA is fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We've also got Aspinall making his debut, the second team Calvon fighter on the card. Heavyweight talent coming through. Obviously, that division's a bit light. I didn't know much about Collier, but he's had, I think this is his 7th UFC fight, and he's 3-3 of the ones he's had already. Aspinall, I think he's lost 2 fights, but one of them was a DQ for was it 12-6 elbows or something. So yeah, he's lost one. In my opinion. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I don't actually think that the UFC heavyweight division, until you get to the top echelons, is that much more advanced than the European scene. I don't know what you guys think of that.
Well, yeah, I agree with you there. I was watching one of the heavyweight fights on the undercard. I can't remember if it was one of the Fight Islands, and I was like, the talent wasn't really UFC worthy, I thought, and it was a very boring, lackluster fight. I can't give you names, but I was thinking if that's the standard of the heavyweight division, and then it's the flyweight division that
you thinking of a comeback, Rick?
Maybe. I'm nearly like the heavyweight again now, so I have to drop down, and so I'll let him off. But you're right about the heavyweight division. I think Geraint Hill should make a comeback. He'll spark them all out. Come on, up the.
I know what it is. You've got a beer belly getting UFC heavyweight division, don't you? That's the way it works, isn't it? That's how you get
like to Geraint's point there. Like I do think that Tom can do well very quickly because it is a shallow division, so it doesn't actually take that many wins to put together. If you're in the lightweight division, for example, it's going to take you a long time to get into the rankings. In the heavyweight division, you put a few good wins together and you could be fighting a ranked opponent pretty soon. So oh, that's nice from Chris Emmanuel there.
I think I'm taller than Chris, actually. I don't know. We're about the same height. Love you, Chris.
And then from the same team, we've got Mike Grundy. He got the win over Nad Narimani in his UFC debut, so we know what he can do. He's obviously got the wrestling skills. I'm really excited to see how far he can go because obviously the wrestling side of it is sometimes an area that the US have got an advantage over us, and they're not going to have that with him. So not just the US, but the Russians and everywhere. So how do we think this fight's going to go, Danny?
Well, I'm just looking at his stats now. 8 wins by submission. He's only had the one by knockout. I think he'll...
Mike or his opponent?
Mike Grundy.
All right. What about his opponent? Undefeated?
Who's he fighting?
Somebody I can't pronounce.
Evloev.
Yeah, how you say it? He's undefeated, so...
I don't know. Ricky would tell us how to say it.
He's Russian, isn't he?
Right down.
Ivalev.
He's a tough
Valiev.
motherfucker. It's gonna be a tough fight, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's no easy fights. There's no easy fight.
When I
I
win,
don't think there's-
I think there's easier
Good thing.
fights though. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, he's undefeated anyway. Grundy's opponent. So yes,
I think you touch upon a good subject. Of course, anyone who comes from Russia comes with good sambo, judo, wrestling style. Grundy is probably our best wrestler in the UK in MMA, apart from Brett Johns, of course, but heavily biased. But Grundy, because he trains at a team like Cowborn, he's not just a one-dimensional wrestler. They've got such a good Thai boxing program as well, and he isn't adverse to throw in his hands. So I think the wrestling might be neutralized on both sides, and it might be like the time Matt Hughes fought. I can't remember who he fought, but there's two good ground guys, and they end up having a really sloppy kickboxing match. It might be that, but I think
or Usman versus Colby.
Yeah, that's a great example. But I don't think it'll be a sloppy kickboxing match. But I think it'll be one of them things where like wrestling is neutralized, so there's stand and bang. And I think if that's the case, I think he's got enough to get the win. So I'm backing him, and not just because he supports IMAF with his lad who fights in the IMAFs. So
another shout out to IMAF there. Right, we're nearly there, guys. Nathaniel Wood, the prospect. Change of opponent for him. He's now fighting somebody who's making their UFC debut, Castaneda. I'm probably butchering that, but Nathaniel's 3-1 in the UFC, looking to bounce back from that John Dodson loss. He's never argued about that stoppage, but I think you can make an argument that it was quick. What do you think? He's obviously gonna destroy him. I can't wait to see Nathaniel back in there.
Nathaniel looked good in his last fight against Donsel, I thought he fought really well. Obviously he got caught, but up until that point I thought he was winning the fight. So, Nathaniel's been good in the UFC. Obviously comes from a great Cage Warriors send off as well, with the title defenses and all those knockouts. And I don't think that loss to Dodson will bother him that much, really. Like I said, he had been fighting really well up until that point. He got caught, as happens in the sport, as Peter said earlier. I think this. I don't know his opponent, I'm going to be honest with you, but
same.
I think Nathaniel.
His opponent. His nickname is Sexy Mexi. A bit like me, he's sexy. If you give me a can of Pepsi.
Definitely not. I hope he doesn't look like that in there. Well, I do. It'd be an easy night for Nathaniel. But yeah, obviously, best of skill to all those. He's got Brad Pickett out there with him. So yeah, that's the fight that I'm really looking forward to on this card.
Yeah, Nathaniel's got a big following over here as well, Nathaniel. So like I said, he's kind of a forefront guy for UK, and I hope he gets a win as well. I think he will. I hope he
gets the win because it's similar to because Brett and Jack have just fought, and I'd love for Brett and Jack to fight Nathaniel in the next fight. I just think it'd just be so good, and it's like
I'm gonna hate that fight when it happens.
And it has to be in London. It has to be in the UK.
Yeah, can you imagine that in UK,
I
London?
hope it is.
That's
true. This is the best fight that I ever saw as well. Was Nathaniel versus Crazy Horse. It was insane. I lost. It literally took 10 years off my life, but it was absolutely incredible. Just it got mentioned on Ariel's show as well. I remember on Fights of the Year. So yeah, Gus is making his return this weekend against Verdum as well. Proving that MMA retirements aren't real. Yeah, coming back at heavyweight.
Come on, Gus.
Yeah,
Think you'll
hopefully
win,
he
Ricky?
can.
Think you'll win?
No.
I want
Verdum
him to win
has lost
because
to. He's.
I just love the guy.
I think he's gonna get subbed.
I
I think.
I don't. He's Verdum is looking sloppy. I think. I don't
good- it's a
think
good-
he's putting enough into training camps. He's lost to Olenek and Volkov in his last 2 fights. He doesn't, to me, look like someone who's motivated by the right things to keep getting in there. I don't know if he's doing it just for the money, but he just doesn't look like his heart's in it to me. And
good first fight
presumably
for us.
Gus's heart is in it to come back.
It's a good first fight for heavyweight to test the waters. He's not going to worry about getting knocked out or nothing. So.
It's not going to be good for him if Verdum grabs all of him and gets on his back. I don't think. I've got a feeling he's going to get subbed.
That's true. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
You both think that? Okay.
Big
Yeah,
shout
I
out.
think that's a good shout.
Big shout out to former Cage Warriors Women's Champion Pani Kenzad fighting as well next week. She's my friend.
Yeah. Shout out to her then as well. Is there anyone else you wanted to shout out before we go, Ricky? Maybe IMAF again in case anybody didn't.
No more IMAP shout outs, Ricky. You got to start paying some money to MMA UK for all these shout outs you're giving.
That's cool. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. Nah, no more shout outs. Just I'm after best.
I'm having QFC.
Or QFC.
Danny, you want to shout out
I think they'd work together there.
Where do people watch that, Danny?
Facebook Live.
I just keeps popping up on Facebook. I think who does it? I think Adam Tay. I keep seeing when he watches it, it pops up on my feed. I think, but
the guy who runs it, I think he just added me the other day. I can't remember his name, but it started off in the field, didn't it? And now it's kind of in a boxing ring and all that now. So
I saw an MMA fight yesterday. It was about half a second long.
Oh my god!
I don't know what
Louis,
safe MMA would think of it.
Yeah. Anything I've missed that you wanted to talk about before we go?
No, not that I can think of. I really want to get one of these QFCs now. I think that's going to be something on my hit list to get to in the future.
Our first live event.
Yeah.
Did Wes O'Neill not win a fight? The guy who never won an MMA fight. It was like 0-50 or whatever. I think he won one. On QFC. Danny will know. Danny's a super fan.
I don't know. I've just seen a few of them. I think it should be a new rule though. But
Jordan Wheater.
Was that who it was?
Jordan Wheater, I think his name is. I don't think he's ever. Every time I've emceed him, sometimes a couple of times in one night, he's always lost. So I know they're desperate to get him a win, but they keep feeding him people, and he still keeps losing. So
it's like that Wes O'Neill. Somebody will pull out. He's been up to Scotland a few times. He was at Evolution of Combat. He's been on top. They'll take him in and put him in against a killer at the last minute. He just folds up within 30 seconds. Never won a fight. Don't get me wrong, he's saving the guy. Obviously, the guy's been in the fight camp and trained and all that, so he's saving them. You know what I mean? That's why people use them, the independent fighters, to save the show and all that. So the guys still get the fight. So it's good that kind of way.
Yeah, I needed him in the spot.
Right, let's see if we can wrap this up in under 2 hours then. Peter, is there anything that you've got left to say?
The only thing I can think of was Michael Bisping has been getting a bit of a slagging. Obviously, it started with Dan Henderson and all that. So I started looking like social media and all that. And a lot of people, mainly Americans, were slagging off Michael Bisping's commentary. So just people start. I think he's really, really good. I like it.
Yeah, he is good. He's always been one of my favourites. He has got something about when there's a takedown, he thinks that it's going to be scored even when nothing happens, even though in his head he knows that's wrong. But he's talking about the fact that somebody might have lost the round just from being taken down, and that pisses me off because we need to stop perpetuating
give the guy
that.
a break. He's only got one eye.
Hey,
yeah, true.
He's only seen half the cage, man. But nah, you're right. I prefer Dan Hardy's commentary to Bisping's, and I think Dan Hardy works so well with John Gooden. I don't think John Gooden and Bisping have found that flow that John shares with Dan Hardy yet. But
Why is Dan not there, Rick? Do you know?
Yeah, they split it up. They split them up. Dan's
He's gone out today.
Oh, is he?
He's gone out
But-
today.
So
But
that's
at the same
Bisping's
time,
happening.
I like how Bisping.
No,
I like
Bisping
how
went
personal. I like how personal things are with Bisping. How like he relates to his personal experiences, and he'll like when he was talking about Jack Shaw being the next GSP and everything, and he's like, no, GSP knocked me out, knocked me the fuck out, and all that. And it's like, he brings that. It's a lot. He brings his personality into it, and I like that. And I think Americans don't like that because they tend to not have personalities.
But they've got a good mix in there. They've got Dominic Cruz, people like that. You've got DC and all that. They've got quite a Paul Felder and all that. They've got loads of them. And they got a good mix and all that. I like Dominic Cruz. He's usually up for an argument with one of them. So.
Yeah.
I really like I really like Felder and Dan Hardy together as well. I do. I think that's that's another good combo. But do you feel like perhaps Bisping's encroaching on Dan's commentary a little bit now, though? Is that going to be a thing from now on? Do you reckon?
I think that was Dan's choice not to go out till now. I might be wrong, but yeah, it because up until this one, John wasn't doing commentary, was he? It was only the last one that he did commentary for. So yeah.
One thing I will say about Bisping, just adding on to that, was I don't know if you've seen the last episode of Dana White's Looking for a Fight. I thought
God, so funny.
Bisping was absolutely hilarious on that. He's a great character. So even if he's not much commentary anymore, I definitely want to see him on that show more because he's such a funny guy. He's got
the skydiving, Lewis.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He really fits in well with Matt, Sarah, and Dana as well. So yeah, I like him on that.
Hilarious, yeah.
Hang on, we've got loads of comments coming in. Hang on, Katie. Hang on. Here we go. We've got more comments coming.
I really need the toilet.
Yeah, hang on.
Shout out to Malin Hammonson on Brave in Romania tomorrow. Yes. Good luck to the Herminator.
I've got one
Friend
more.
of the show.
We've got one more. We've got the name for the QSE owner. There you go, Darren
Moffat.
Yes, that's the guy that runs QSE. That's it.
Can I just say as well, for anyone who's stuck with us for this 2 hours, thank you very much and well done to you. The true
well done to you. Yeah, definitely well done.
I don't know the Twitter figures, but the Facebook Live viewers have been quite good all the way out. It's been double figures all the way. So I think it's because of my nipples. But
no, I really don't think it is, mate.
I know. I really don't think it is that.
You get them out more often.
I definitely think it's the longest show. Yeah, I definitely think it is a record-breaking show. Nobody wants to listen to us for this long, and they definitely don't want to look at Peter's nipples for that long.
I think he wants another T-shirt off Fight Fuel. I think that's what it's about.
Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for your time. Thanks for your predictions and your summaries, and I can't wait for this Saturday's fights. I'm buzzing. I don't know what I'm going to do after this, honestly.
It's an earlier one, isn't it? It's a 1 o'clock main card, so we can stay up.
Yeah, it starts at 10. At 10,
time
so main card's at 1. Yeah, that's doable, people. We've got this. Thank you. Night all.
Bye.